Now, Shadiversity has a very fun position on AI art, which is that AI art is good and, in fact, is just as valid as other kinds of art. And here we go. My skills are increasing. Making a video as we speak showing my process and how I got these results, the level of artistry needed, the technical knowledge required, an amount of work involved I think is going to shock people. My AI assisted art skill 6 months ago. My AI assisted art skill now. Don't let people tell you AI art requires no skill and you just press a button to make AI assisted art. Now, I have to say, just right off the bat, this is an incredible post. Because again, the argument against AI assisted art is frankly not that it doesn't take skill or it doesn't take work to make. It's just that it steals, how it operates is by stealing other people's art and then reconfiguring it. Like the that's the problem, right? Like it's stealing the effort and skill of other artists. Yeah, he literally used an IP in the example, an IP that wasn't his, right? Um which I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess that DC isn't a huge fan of its artwork being plagiarized by large language models. I don't think they're a fan of that. But let's see the follow-up here, which is here's the promised video. If you think there's no artistry used in AI art, if you think it requires no skill to make the best AI art, and most importantly, if you think AI art is a threat to artists, I made this video for you. You know, it's really telling here that he claims it's AI assisted art, AI assisted art. But if you think AI art is a threat to artists, interesting. There seems to be a demarcation between AI art assisted artist and artist. Interesting. Let's check it
Art
out.
is very important to me.
Let's check this out. We gotta see.
Ever since I was a very young child, my imagination would run wild, creating characters and stories and worlds. And art has always been a profoundly important part of me
Okay, but can we talk about the art style real quick? Like, what's up with the eyes?
bringing those worlds into greater reality. It started off with drawing,
Also, what's up with like the body proportions?
and that's a passion I still have to this day. Creating new characters and depicting the worlds and stories I love to immerse
Yeah, I think this might be Shad's art. Yeah.
myself in. It was a great revelation to me later on in life. It wasn't actually the physical, mechanical movement of drawing that I was actually enjoying, but it was the creation of something. There was some relaxation found in the methodical kind of movements of scraping a pencil along paper, but the true artistic satisfaction was in what I was creating. Otherwise, why wasn't I just drawing straight lines on a single piece of paper forever? But I do understand.
Wait, all of this work is sketched over existing art? He stole the body frames, which is why the proportions are all fucked. Wait, are you serious? Oh no! He didn't bother to learn proportion. I mean, it makes the figures so much more sensical if that's how he did it. I was just assuming he was really bad. And now I'm just no, now I'm just learning he's really bad, but not in the way I was trying to make sense of all of this. He sounds like shitty Matt Orchard. Yeah, that's basically his thing.
That there are some people that fall in love with certain mediums, but I still feel the greatest satisfaction comes from this process of creation.
The fuck is happening here? I I'm just fascinated.
And then I discovered a new medium where I could depict these worlds and characters to even greater reality, writing. And since then I've become a published author, and writing is one of the great passions of my
I have nothing kind to say about this book cover, okay? They say don't judge they say never to judge a book by its cover. I think it's okay to judge this one by its cover.
life, as still is drawing and art. My artistic pursuits have just broadened. I love to explore different mediums and tools that help bring my artistic visions into greater reality in different ways. And I've always appreciated tools that help me achieve certain things that I wouldn't be able to do otherwise. I love the look of inked art on top of my pencil drawings, making the lines more bold and it to stand out and pop from the page, yet it was also a very stressful experience because there was also a greater chance of smudges, and I even had other images ruined.
I don't understand this style.
When small bits of water, just droplets, fell on the page, making the ink bleed. So, when having access to a scanner and being able to scan my hand-drawn images onto a computer, where I could digitally ink my images, solved all the issues and problems I was having with hand inking. It enabled me to do it more precisely, faster, with the ability to erase mistakes and also make later edits. It was a phenomenal tool.
I mean, the cover's not usually made by the author, but the author does tend to choose the cover.
That helped bring my art to the next level, and I never had considered it cheating, or that I was losing some type of artistic pursuit in not wanting to pursue physical hand-inked art. This is the exact same experience I had with colouring. I never particularly enjoyed working with physical mediums, painting, pencils, pastels. The same stresses existed for mistakes, but that wasn't to say I never did it or that I couldn't find great satisfaction in making a hand-coloured piece of art. But discovering digital colouring fixed all the problems that I was finding with hand colouring myself, and enabled me to produce much, much higher quality art than I was able to do without it. Technology enabled me to produce much higher quality artworks, cutting out much of the tedious processes, and enabled me to express my artistic vision faster, easier, to a higher level of quality. So as you can imagine, any technology that grants this same benefit I am very, very interested in, hence my interest in AI art generators. Many people view this new technology as something that robs people of their artistic pursuit and potential. What I see is the exact opposite. Indeed, far from robbing artistic expression, when you approach it with intent.
I mean, honestly, I gotta be real with you. I gotta be real with you, Sweet Myths. This guy's better. I said it. I said it.
Having a specific vision in your mind that you want to achieve, it can enable you to bring that vision into a level of reality, detail, and beauty than you might ever have been able to do without it. But when you combine other artistic talents and abilities that you cultivate in other mediums, that enables you to make the very best art with this technology. And I'm not kidding in this. I am an artist. I've developed a very keen eye for proportion.
Honestly, I just feel like, my guy, you're just making the argument that you're a bad artist, and you like how AI just
I hate money, so
makes
take
it
it.
slightly
Blah
better.
BWAB waha ha 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 bawahaj.
Archangel, thank you for the 5 gifted tier 1 subs. I very, very much appreciate it. He's got an eye for proportion.
Proportion and detail, and I have applied that in.
You've got an eye for proportion. What is okay, but like what's happening with his face?
Every artistic pursuit in whatever medium I'm using. There are many people who use AI art who have seen my images that I've made with this technology and have literally asked, how on earth do I produce these results? They see a difference in the quality that I'm able to achieve versus the quality that they have been able to achieve. And
I hate all of these. I hate all of these. so much, and it's very funny to me that he's parading these around like he did something great.
The answer is I'm applying every single talent I have developed in multiple mediums in my pursuit and love of art to this medium as well. AI art generators are not a replacement of artists. In actual fact, it can be one of the most profound and incredible tools for artists. Artists will simply be able to make the very best AI art. But when that is done, it's actually not AI art. The AI art generator is not doing all the work. Far, far from it.
Oh, okay, so he's gonna argue that AI art generators are just like a paintbrush.
I make my AI art, I am in full control with a specific vision in my mind that I'm working towards. And as a result, this isn't made by just the AI, it's made by me using the tool of AI to achieve the specific vision that I have in my mind. This is AI assisted art, just like Photoshop.
Poor quality image I made as a teenager. AI conversion enhancing the old concept. But like you're uploading your shitty art.
I'll donate some subs for a dramatic reading of the author provided description for Shad's book here. Also, BWA.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that real quick. But first I just have to say, like, what he's doing here is just feeding this old image into like Stable Diffusion and then having it like create something with the amalgamation of far more talented artists. Like it's not like you using the tool to make your crappy art better. It's you stealing the accumulated, you know, dragon's hoard of stolen copyrighted material, and then that is just being funneled over your shit art. Like this that's what's happening. Okay. Let's take a look real quick. Dramatic reading. A dramatic reading of Shadow of the Conqueror, Chronicles of Everfall. Who better? Sorry. Who better to fight back the darkness of the world than the one responsible for most of it? Dalen, once known as the Great Bastard, the Scourge of Nations, Dalus the Conqueror, has lived in hiding since his presumed death. Burdened by age and tremendous guilt, he thinks his life is coming to an end. Unbeknownst to him, he's about to embark on a journey towards
I'm really
redemption.
sorry about that, Jack.
It's okay, Kyrie. Thank you for the $5 dono. A journey towards redemption, where his ruthless abilities might save the world. Many battles await with friends to be made, and a past filled with countless crimes to confront, all the while trying to keep his true identity a secret. Indeed, it might be too much if not for the fabled power awaiting him. Everfall is a world of perpetual day, where the continents float in the endless sky. If one jumps from the continent, they will fall for many hours before returning to the same place from which they fell. Skyships rule the air powered... Skyships rule the air powered by shining sunstone and industrial darkstone. A legendary order of knights bears mystical powers, which they use to hunt out the dreaded shade. Monsters that regular people turn into if trapped in darkness for the length of a fall. It's a world of enchanted swords, merciless monsters, mystical knights, and hard magic. Filled with tales of wonder and adventure. Hard magic. Oh, God. I like you. Hard magic. Stop, Dalen. His magic's harder than yours. I've got the hardest magic in all the lands! Erector Spectrotum! Oh, God. If your magic remains hard for longer than 4 hours, please seek medical assistance. Fuck. Anyway, back to this shit. There's 37 minutes of this.
Is digitally assisted art, although it includes many AI processes that enables people to cut corners, make shortcuts, achieve goals much easier and quicker, that many people don't want to acknowledge that they are using in their
Also, just real quick, just looking at the AI generated image for a second, like, what even is this? Like, the materials don't even look right on, like, the skirt or the shirt. Like, what is happening here? Also, why is her shirt, like, either vaguely translucent or, like, tinged with yellow? Like, I don't get it.
own digital art, but criticizing the exact same type of use and methodology that is actually present in AI art generation. Therefore, to prove that great amounts of artistry can absolutely
Also, I deeply despise that the AI art he generated for, like, women, that looks like a teenager, right? Right, guys? Like, that looks like a babby.
be applied to AI art generation to achieve far greater results than what people are able to achieve without artistic talent and technical knowledge in the program itself. I'm going to take you through step by step, showing the entire process of the creation of
I'm just saying, this is sussy as hell.
one of my AI assisted art pieces, explaining every single step, also to help other people improve their art and ability to work with this new technology. So to demonstrate this process, we are going to be making an image of one of my
Also, all of these look terrible. You know?
She's getting it hard, because this isn't the hard magic. The hard magic is my asterisk 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 asterisk.
Oh, excellent reference to Dr. Horribles.
favorite fictional characters.
Thank you for the 3 tier 1
Supergirl.
subs.
I had a big crush on Supergirl growing up and have a lot
Yeah, bro, we can tell. We can tell.
of nostalgic connection for this character, and what I love to do is to depict my wife as Supergirl because that's who she is. She is my Supergirl. She's the most beautiful creature in the world to me, and
Okay, that's pretty sweet. I can't fault him for loving his wife.
so I love making art of my wife. She is my muse, and I particularly love depicting her in the way that I see her. People don't see what I see when I look at my wife.
Hey, you're my muse and the love of my life. I'm saying that to you. Yeah, my muse. My muse. Alright, moving on.
When I look at my wife, I see the most beautiful creature
Okay.
in the world. I see my Supergirl. The first step is to choose the AI
Okay.
image generator. There are multiple ones out there, but I use the local installation of Stable Diffusion in the automatic 1111 interface. The reason why Stable Diffusion is the best is that it enables you to use multiple extensions and add-ons, giving you far more freedom and control, enabling you to
Archangel, thank you for the 5 gifted tier 1 subs. Y'all helping to put food on my table, and I very much appreciate it. Cause people keep telling me I need food to live. It sounds like a scam, but I'm gonna go along with it for now.
achieve the artistic vision you have in your mind. It goes far beyond just trying to describe what you want in a prompt, because the very nature
Yeah, that's the other part, right? Kropotkin's loaf, like, just real quick, I'm gonna throw out a hypothetical for you guys. On the one hand, you have a partner who loves you and adores you, right? And they draw you, they spend painstaking hours drawing you in like some kind of cute pose or something, the beauty they see when they look at you, right? That's really sweet. On the other hand, you really love your wife, and so you type a bunch of words into an AI art generator to make her look like Supergirl. I mean, which is more romantic? I think I know which one is. One of those is only good for a little, like a chuckle. The other one is like a meaningful romantic gesture.
Nature of AI art generators are infinite, and you don't want infinite outputs, you want a specific result. And as soon as you are working towards a specific result, it is quite impossible to get that out of a prompt and a click. It's going to take far more processes to achieve what you want and to make a flawless final image. There are many tutorials in how to install Stable Diffusion, and once it's installed, it actually runs through your web browser. You're not going to a separate website, it's literally running locally on your computer. People assume that once you have Stable Diffusion installed, all you need to do is copy someone else's prompt and start spitting out incredible results. This is very far from the truth. Stable Diffusion comes with a base model, which is a set of training.
Okay, I do have to ask: is this is this video of him typing in stuff? Because it is very funny that he wrote a Batman fighting a dragon and a giant.
Parameters that kind of encompasses
Okay,
the brain
he got
of
it.
the image generator. There are hundreds, going on thousands, of different AI image generating models made by the community at large, and experimenting and finding
And all of them are sussy.
the best models to achieve the vision that you want is actually a very important part of this process. I've worked with many different models, finding out their strengths and weaknesses, and as a result, I know which model will better help serve me in what I want to achieve. And to reach the quality
Yeah, again, it's somewhat telling that like half of these are lowly.
that I'm able to achieve, I actually do something that not everyone does with these AI image generators. I use multiple models for the same image, which I will demonstrate a little later. And so to achieve this end result, I've needed to train a model based on my wife's face. This has been a long and difficult process with many failed attempts. The final face models that I have of my wife are the result of hundreds of hours of work. And the process to achieve that,
Yeah, it's hundreds of hours of work for you to train the model using other people's work. But if you're going to use just your wife, then it's going to be, of you taking pictures of your wife. And I'm sure that's a lot of work. It's not really that impressive. For the water.
is a video in and of itself. At the moment, I have 3 very high quality, workable, usable face models based on my wife that can each achieve a different type of artistic output.
A different type of wife. It's like I now have 4 wives.
I often use all 3 of them in conjunction to achieve the very best results. First, you need to refine the prompt, and finding the prompt that works
My
best is a
wife.
process that can take thousands of
I have to say, I did not expect this to be a my wife video.
different tries. Just copying a base prompt that you find online does not grant you the knowledge of what individual words are doing what to achieve the results, because tweaking the prompt is an important part in guiding the AI to get the results that you want.
Yeah, so in other words, you create the model and then you figure out the keywords you need to generate the appropriate model. Yeah, we get it.
So, knowing how to weight certain prompts, the order of the prompt, the types of keywords are all very crucial.
This guy is one family tragedy away from a Black Mirror episode.
Experienced people with these programs know how to tweak the prompt as they generate images, guiding it by altering the prompts to get the results you want. But this is still only the first.
Yeah, by the way, it is telling that he's like, look, I use pictures of my wife, but I don't want it to look exactly like my wife. I want it to look like how I see my wife.
First part of the process. There is still much more required, as well as additional things that can drastically affect and change the results, which are called LoRAs. LoRAs are like additions to models that can be applied to any model that have been trained to push the results in a certain direction. And most people who first try Stable Diffusion have no idea what they are, or that there are even different models to use, or the importance of keywords, order, weighting in prompts, and figuring out all of this is actually technical knowledge, skill in using this technology.
I mean, yeah, it's basically a slightly more complicated way of using like a Google. Essentially. Like, this isn't like he's trying to make this seem like it's so much more than it is, but like, yeah, it's the equivalent of knowing how to Google something. Yeah.
Even when the technology improves with updates, you need to learn how to use those updates. What is it doing? Oftentimes new extensions need to actually be.
It'd be cute the first few times, but after a while, as the wife, I'm gonna start wondering why he never depicts my real body in his shows of affection. Yeah.
Looked for, found, added to Stable Diffusion, and you then need to learn how to use them. Getting better at using these tools and taking advantage of how this technology gets better.
I just have to say, like, the after picture, it just looks terrible. Guy, like, how are you using this as an example of, like, see how well I do it? It looks like a bad Photoshop. Like a real bad Photoshop.
Is a crucial part in making the best quality art with this technology. So the prompt that we're using here is raw photo, full body image of a beautiful sci-fi supergirl flying in the sky and wearing a long red pleated skirt and red cape and red boots. Starting with a full descriptive line.
Wait, Shad has a talented older brother? That makes a lot of sense.
The image gives far more weight and guidance to the prompt. This doesn't work with all models though. You have to know the best prompts that work with different models. Then I have the line trigger word that generates my wife's face. This trigger word will literally achieve nothing in models that are not trained off of my wife's face, and so for the majority of these first generations, this is doing nothing.
His hundreds of hours could have been spent learning. Honestly, it could have just been spent learning Photoshop. I mean, Distron, it looks bad to me visually. Like we'll start with this one that he keeps showing, right? First of all, the lighting is completely wrong. Like it's hitting the armor in like different ways that don't make sense, and also it like the lighting doesn't fit with the face. Like you also see like the differences in like the textures that just don't make a ton of sense. On top of like the just kind of what you're working with on the base is just bad. Like this isn't interesting to look at or good. The character design is bad. And then you have just like the materials aren't behaving for like they should while bending in these ways, obviously. The hands are weird with the interaction here with like the leather. Again, and then that brings me to like the ultra realistic face next to the very not realistic everything else. Oh, like the face and the bow are both like super realistic to a degree that doesn't fit with the rest of the artistic direction of the character model. And yeah, the proportions are all wonky and wrong. And just generally bad.
Taking advantage of how this technology gets better
Yeah,
is
she
a
also looks
crucial
like she's
part
about
in
to piss
making the
herself. That's
best
true.
quality art with this technology.
Yeah, also just imagine like a real woman trying to make this pose. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Especially not with like the expression of like casual boredom but smiling to be polite anyway that is going on here. Like, it's a combination of a lot of little details. Um and it's not I wouldn't even put these as like little details. These are pretty fundamental details.
Technology gets better is a crucial part in making the best
Like again, like I said before, this is like what somebody who's bad at Photoshop would make.
quality art with this technology. So the prompt that we're using here is raw photo, full body image of a beautiful sci-fi supergirl flying in the sky and wearing a long red pleated skirt and red cape and red boots. Starting with a full descriptive line of the image gives far more weight and guidance to the prompt. This doesn't work with all models though. You have to know the best prompts that work with different models. Then I have the line trigger word that generates my wife's face. This trigger word will literally achieve nothing in models that are not trained off of my wife's face, and so for the majority of these first generations this is doing nothing. Then I start with guiding keywords. These are all very important guiding words of elements that I want in the prompt, and some might confuse you a little, like armor
My
and sci-fi
wife.
armor, metal top. The type of Supergirl image I want is one that has a more sci-fi looking Supergirl outfit, with detailed gold accents on the top and belt and boots, and these keywords the exact type of thing that will heavily influence.
Guys. You don't understand. He's doing art right now. He's doing art, and his wife is going to love the image of person smiling young woman Supergirl image that he makes her. Why not just learn the art skill instead of investing all this effort into prompts? Look, art is for chumps. Okay, it's a chumps game. The real skill now is not being able to make art. It's being able to steal other people's ability to make art.
It's the output, and I've only figured out that they work this way through experimentation.
He's learning bad
My
creative
next
writing.
prompts
Yeah.
are now focused on the actual imagery, the artistic style.
Is this a horrible person? Well, he is a horrible person, but he also is making bad arguments for AI art. So yes, both.
There are a couple of repeats there, that adds additional weight, and some prompts I did learn just work well from other people who work with these programs, like DSLR. The last part of the prompt, I have two LoRa's working. One is a noise offset which makes better lighting, and the other is a LoRa that adds mecha-type technology details. Both these LoRa's are available on Savitia, and the mecha one is particularly awesome when pushed to a further degree, can get some really cool sci-fi results.
I mean, yeah, this just looks like he de-aged his wife to a teenager. And then also her head is way too big for her body. It's very weird.
But I'm using it here just to weight the generation towards a more sci-fi looking outfit, specifically in the metal accent details of the image. So this is the way that I prompt, and the specific order of the different categories of prompts affects the output, and it actually results in an AI-generated artistic style. My AI-generated...
Wait a minute, is this supposed to be him? Wait, is he just AI generating art of himself and his wife? For his characters? Is that what's happening? Like, wait. Because he looks...
Hey guys, we need to get to the crypt, hurry up. Hey guys, we need...
Because he looks like this. I think that's supposed to be him. It has his facial hair. Oh my god, it's supposed to be him. Oh, dude.
Generated artistic style. My AI generated images have a particular look to them, and it's the
Okay, so he's AI generating images of himself and his wife. I mean, like, nothing wrong with this, I guess. Like, if you want to do that, that's fine. Go for it. The argument, though, that it's just as valid as, like, learning how to draw these characters. Well, because, again, he de-ages them, Kropotkin's He asks for them to be young women. And if you look at what the AI model trains on, it's very sussy.
result of the way that I
Why does all of this feel oddly creepy? Because we're looking at the end result of, like, 10 billion images being aggregated at us through Google search terms. Like, that's why it looks creepy. Like, that should creep you out. This is what the Uncanny Valley was made for. To warn us that these things are trying to steal our souls.
prompt, and I prompt this way because it gives me the results that I want. This is not random. This has been achieved through trial and error experimentation. And yes, someone can just copy and paste this, but they're still not going to get the same results as me, because next is my process. And the next stage in that process is choosing the specific model to generate the first image that is going to be the foundation of the final image. But you might be shocked at how different this first image is compared to how it will look to the final result. After experimenting with multiple different models, I do have to say Rev Animated is one of the very, very best in terms of creative.
I do have to say, we need to have another D&D session with Karl Marx. I did enjoy that. We gotta have Karl Marx roll up a new character. I enjoyed that Karl Marx became a trans lady in about 10 minutes. So, look, we got him, girls.
Design. Fine details in clothing, lighting, composition. Rev Animated is incredible, but if you're only going to be used Rev Animated, you're going to be limited by this model's limitations. It is not a realism model. It is made to make animated looking images. So we are going to be using the strengths of Rev Animated combined with the strengths of other models to achieve what we want. So I start generating a couple of images, and yes, some look good, but they don't have what I'm after. And then I generated this image, and at first...
Guys, again, his skill is writing a prompt and then finding the image that he likes.
I was ready to move on, but I paused because there was something that I saw in this image that I had to go back to, and this is where applying artistic talent is really important. You might not see what I see in this image, but I see potential for a brilliant pose and composition here. It's not actually there, but I see the potential for it. This is hugely important, and it defines such a massive difference in someone who is able to apply an artistic eye to this process versus
Guys, he applies his artistic eye. You don't understand. You don't understand. It's the eye in his pants, okay?
someone who doesn't have the experience or ability to do so, and they're just limited with the images that they're able to
His
generate.
skill is
And
mediocre
so with this
aesthetics.
image, I now have a vision of what I can achieve with it. But to achieve that, that's going to require me editing the image into a far stronger guide to what I want the final image to be. And so to do that, we're going to bring it into Photoshop, but first we want a more...
I want this guy to go into an art school and tell them that he does art. I want to see a bunch of art students beat this guy up. Huh? Yeah. I don't know. I feel like this guy showing up, they would mog him. Yeah, exactly. It would be devastating. When I say art students would beat him up, I mean emotionally and mentally, the way he deserves to be beaten up. Yeah, yeah.
More detailed version of this same image. And so we're going to repeat the seed with the exact same prompt, which means we're going to generate the exact same image, but we're going to do the high-res fix, which is going to upscale it using the same seed input, which means the additional detail it's going to add is not going to warp the image away from what we want. So it generates the exact same image, and then you're going to notice that it gets blurry once again. This is what the high-res fix is doing. It adds more noise to the image and then adds greater detail, upscaling it into a larger size. Now that we have this image in Photoshop...
Look, you don't understand. You don't understand. Look. Yeah, the sun might be behind her, chat. But what you don't understand is that there is another sun above her, and then a third sun directly in front of her. Okay, like, you guys just don't understand the complex world building happening in this picture.
I'm going to recompose many of its elements to the image that I want it to be. And I wonder if any of you can actually see what I see in this image, the potential. Take a good look at it. But in any case, I am going to show you. So I bring the image into Photoshop, and I see that there is a problem with the left shoulder. There is a bit of armor there that doesn't fit, so I'm going to copy the right shoulder over and place it over the left one, just so when I regenerate this image, it's not going to have a silver kind of mark there. It's going to register that no, this is supposed to be blue, and it's going to regenerate the image with the correct shoulder. The right hand has potential.
Okay, so he knows how to use Photoshop, then why is he settling for worse images? He could fix the weird head problems his wife generated images have.
But the left hand is a mess, so we're simply
Why?
going to take the right hand and copy it over to the left one. This doesn't mean that I want the hands to look exactly the same, it just means that the AI is going to have a much stronger guide to make a far more realistic looking hand when we regenerate this image. Now we come to one of the more important parts of this recomposition of the image to give a much stronger guide to what I want to achieve, and it's in the cape. There is something really cool here in the cape that has great potential. You might not be able to see it, but you will see it as I alter the image. And part of me altering the cape, I'm also going to be changing the background. I want an image of Supergirl flying through the air, and this actually has a brilliant beginning for a background sky, but the issue is there are buildings in the way, so we're going to edit out the buildings. This has also given the side cape of Supergirl here a much cooler kind of flaring out silhouette, but that silhouette can be improved once we finish off changing the background to a sky. And we're going to be taking out the flaring kind of side of this cape and copying it to the other side, which is going to give a much more striking silhouette to this Supergirl image. Then we're going to crop and center the image so that silhouette is even more striking, and we have the base foundation image of the one that I want to achieve, the vision.
I'm baffled by the series of decisions he's making to try and achieve the image he's going for.
I have in my mind has now been composed by hand in Photoshop. This is not the AI.
Is he not going to fix the tits? No. Why would he? They're perfect.
Doing this is me making a hand composition based off an AI generated image, making many significant changes to achieve a far greater composition that the AI never would have made on its own. I realized that there was one change that I forgot, and that's the kind of metal stockings that she has on her legs. No, I don't want that. So I'm going to paint over this with a basic skin texture, and notice that I'm adding simple shading to it. Yet even this simple shading does require a knowledge of basic shading principles, and so the previous experience I have in digital coloring is being used to a very significant degree.
It's being used to a very significant degree. Shows us the worst shading job I've ever seen. I'm not a fan of these thigh-high stockings. I'd prefer if she was in nothing at all.
Here. Without that, it would have been much harder for the AI to redo the legs in a better, more realistic look, and to have had removed those metal kind of stockings. So I just want you to take a look at the before and after of this image. All these edits were done by hand, or, digital hand. You know what I mean. And already there has been significant human input to get the results that we want. And to say
Significant human input.
the final image that we're going to get out of this foundation was just made by the AI is completely false and disingenuous. But this is only the beginning. There's a lot more involved to get the final results. We have a great composition with dynamic lighting, a good pose, and it's been the combination of using the strengths of the Rev animated model and my own artistic eye and digital illustration ability to
Why are we watching Shadiversity? Because he put out a video about AI art, and I couldn't help myself.
achieve it. And so now I want to make this image more realistic, and to do that we need a different checkpoint model. We're going to switch from the Rev animated model to the realistic visions model. So now we take this foundation.
Oh, okay, so your new innovation was you had an AI generated image, and then you just put it through another AI generator. Okay, gotcha.
This edited version and put it into the image-to-image function of Stable Diffusion. The generations now are going to be based off of this foundational image using the Realistic Visions model. And the result is actually pretty darn cool already. Many people might be happy with this result, especially
Why are her tits poking out of her uniform? No, really, why?
if they don't have the artistic eye to see all the errors in it, or the ability to fix those errors. We're going to adjust some of the settings here. Knowing how the adjustment is going to affect the output is also very important.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I couldn't see through the very deep sci-fi world building that's happening here. She's up high in the sky, so obviously it'd be cold, of course. Also, yeah, again, I feel like every time he's running it through the AI model, he's making it look younger, which is gross.
Important, the denoising strength and the CFG scale. I want to give the AI a little more freedom in altering it, but not too much, and so I'm going to regenerate the image now. And what I've done right here, knowing how to work the settings to get the results you want, is something that only comes with experience and practice. It is literally a skill that you develop using this new tool. And the final result is better. Specifically, look at how much better the hands are because I was able to give the AI a little more freedom to push it towards the results that I want. But I also changed the feet a little bit, and I like the feet of the original base image a little better. And so I'm going to generate a new image with less freedom to get the feet I want. And so what I'm doing here is I'm generating for...
Yeah, you have you got a 4-year degree? Get blown the fuck out by Stable Diffusion.
different results at different parts of the image. Different settings sometimes gives enough freedom to get a better result, say on the Superman S, but lower settings will get a better result for the feet. And so then, what am I supposed to do if I like one thing from one
If I like one thing from one thing, what am I supposed to do? I just Photoshop them on each other like a giant fucking Frankenstein. Let's go!
image and elements of another one? Well, we're going to combine them. And we do that in Photoshop. And so I have 3 base images that I'm going to work with.
His revolutionary idea was just generating multiple images and photoshopping them together. Damn. I'm glad he's giving us this step-by-step tutorial.
And I'm going to grab some of the best elements of each. It's done the foot really, really well in this image, but only the left foot. So I'm going to grab that, and then I'm going to change that into a right foot and add it to the image. Again, the ability to do this requires knowledge of anatomy and proportion. Because I know how to draw feet, I also know how to change and warp this
My brother in Christ, I don't think you know proportions. You opened this video by showing us how you do not know those things.
This one, so it will match a right foot in the image. Literally photo bashing from the assets I've been able to create from the AI image generator. There are some unnecessary parts, additions on the skirt that shouldn't be there, so we're going to remove that as well. This is simply having an eye for proportion and consistency.
I'm sorry, were you done with the foot? Because it doesn't look like you should be, bro.
On the skirt that shouldn't be there, so we're going to remove that as well. This is simply having an eye for proportion and consistency in the
Kill
image.
me.
The skirt is also too short for my
if I
liking as
could.
well, so we're going to increase the length, and it doesn't need to be flawless in its quality. It's going to mess up the consistent lines of the pleats of the skirt, but that actually doesn't matter, because what we need is to give the AI a guide so it knows what to fix. That's what we're doing here. And what we want to fix is specifically the length of the skirt. It will be able to fix the pleats on its own if we give it enough freedom, specifically in the denoising strength. There's another error here on the image that you need to have a keener eye to see. Do you see on the right part of the cape how the sky is brighter above the cape but darker underneath? That gives a kind of unnatural transition to the cloud, so we're just going to brighten it a little underneath.
Yeah, you suckers. You fools. None of you would have noticed that. None of you would have noticed the absolute... You need to have a keen eye for this one.
The cape so it looks more natural. The way the cape connects to the top is also a little inconsistent, and I would actually like kind of metal toggles or something that's going to attach the cape to the outfit. So we're going to add 2 gold lines added by gold accents on the outfit. This means removing certain lines that we don't want on the image and adding new lines that we want the AI to latch onto and fix. We're also going to readjust the color so the AI again has a stronger guide to color the image how we want. And here is the before and after of the image with the edits that we have made in Photoshop. There is another significant element that we're going to do here that's going to help improve the quality of this image dramatically. So much so that my graphics card doesn't actually have the power to do it. We want the image to be a higher resolution, which is going to increase the
Yeah, it does seem like it's going in... it's actually becoming worse.
Details to a large degree. But if my computer isn't strong enough to handle such a high resolution image, how are we going to continue improving the image? Well, the key is using the in-painting feature of Stable Diffusion. The resolution that we're going to increase the image to is 2000 pixels high on its length. So whatever the width is, it's going to adjust automatically, but the height of the image is now 2000 pixels. And we're going to bring that into Stable Diffusion. By using the in-painting feature, the image generator doesn't need to generate a 2000 pixel high image and overtax my computer. It's only going to generate the section of image that I'm highlighting, which is actually closer to around 700 pixels, not 2000. But it also means that section of image is a higher resolution than what it was. This is actually a more advanced technique that not many people know of who do Stable Diffusion image generation. By increasing the resolution of the image and then using in-paint to generate smaller sections of that image. One, of course, you're able to produce a much higher resolution image from the generation phase, but this also enables you to control and get much higher details, especially smaller details that Stable Diffusion can't usually define or latch onto when the image resolution is too low. This can be important with small elements of the picture like buckles or buttons or symbols, eyes, and more.
So this gives you higher resolution assets to work with in Photoshop. Yeah, I think we get it, bud.
And so we're going to regenerate that section of image using the image-to-image feature, so it's using the input image as its base and foundation to be the primary guide for the results. And sometimes the results are very subtle and different, but as I compare them, I can see that the S works better in one and that the belt looks better in another. And so we're going to bring that image back into Photoshop and we're going to make certain corrections. The shade transition on the bust is too jarring and it makes them look pointed, and so we're going to smooth those out.
I just... Dude, you could just make all this in Photoshop. Like, why...
We're going to remove certain lines that we don't want on the outfit.
You actually
and
know
we're
how to
going to
use
make
it.
the toggles that are connecting the cape consistent on each side, removing certain artifacts and elements on the image that don't make sense, like fixing up the neckline. We're going to bring that image back into Stable Diffusion image to image, and we're going to lower the settings so it doesn't alter it at
Marking 14 asterisk got a asterisk tier 4 asterisk subscription.
Marking, thank you for the tier 4 sub. I very, very much appreciate that. Thank you. Hope you've been doing all right.
as much. But using as a guideline for the new image, we're going to generate different
Oh, Solazar. It's so much worse than you can even possibly imagine.
results. And it's already looking much better with higher detail. And there are still many additional things that we need to fix. The next stage is fixing the skirt, and so we're going to bring that into in-painting.
Yeah, we need to
select
fix the skirt.
and adjust the settings to generate a much better, more consistent result. But it's not perfect. There are still edits and fixes that we need to make in Photoshop, so I bring it back into Photoshop and make those fixes. Some of the gold lines have become washed out, so we're going to do another color kind of correction and guideline in the image, putting that on a new layer and adjusting the layer settings so it blends nicer and gives a better guide for the AI. There's also an error on the seam line of the neck that we're going to fix here, and you might notice the tool that I'm using most of all is the stamp tool in Photoshop. Back into in-painting, we select the top, and we have a better guide to generate the results that we want. I specifically want the top to look less like cloth, but a thicker type of material verging on armor, and so I adjust that in the prompts, giving greater weight to what I want, and look at how the results already look more armored or more metallic. And it's through experience that I now know how adding weight to certain words in the prompt will affect the image. This is one of the reasons why I have far more control in producing the images that I want over a person who just
By the way, here's an image of Supergirl from the 2023 comic and Sasha Cal playing Supergirl from The Flash. Note how neither of them look 14 years old. Yeah. Oh, wow. You mean people can just do that? Have good art in costuming, or have good art just in general? How long is this vid? It's almost 40 minutes long, but I'm just fascinated by this. I'm fascinated by it. Yeah, note how neither of these women look like they're teenagers. I think that's maybe a good quality to have in Supergirl. Anyway.
copied and pasted a prompt and doesn't actually know how those words in the prompt is affecting the finer results of the image generation, and therefore they don't.
Huh. You didn't know you could use parentheses when you Google things, did you? That's what this feels like. Is it still? Yeah, it's still meant to be his wife. Despite looking like a literal child. It's so creepy.
Know what words to emphasize or de-emphasize, to add or remove, to get far more refined and specific results. It's knowing how to make subtle differences like this, how to guide the AI to the image that you have in your mind, that is so important, that enables you to get more specific results. And it also proves that getting these specific results is literally impossible for the AI generator on its own. It's requiring such constant guidance and human input. This literally feels like me making changes on a canvas with a brush. And based on the results, I go back into the prompt, changing it, making greater weight and differences, continually refining towards the result that I want. And we finally have a much...
As far as I know, like, Supergirl and Superboy are supposed to be generally around 18 years old, but, like, usually range from between, like, 18 and 24. Oh, Dead Domain. We are covering a certain lad on YouTube who has a channel called Shadiversity, and he's a British guy who's the most smug and conservative man you could possibly imagine. And he puts out videos on his channel like, is Oppenheimer communist propaganda, or here's how to use a medieval crossbow, or here's how to make a crossguard, or like, stuff like that. Like he's firmly in the guys are only ever thinking about the Roman Empire, except his Roman Empire is comic books and medieval weaponry. He's Australian. Oh god. The second-hand British. Oh no. But also, like, he put out a 40-minute long video defending AI as like authentic artistic expression, and is walking through his very unique process of how to make AI art, which is use one model to create an image, then use Photoshop and then put that through an AI model, a different AI model, and then use Photoshop, and then put that one through an AI model and use Photoshop again. Except every person he makes is either an AI generated version of himself or his wife, and it's very creepy and weird.
Better image, which is the direct result of very intentional action taken by myself. This wasn't the AI pushing for these results, that was me, as if I had a digital brush remaking the image.
As if you did, like a brush you might have in Photoshop, except you didn't use that brush. You just had an AI model come up with a bunch of generated results for you.
Still not perfect, we need to make some fixes in Photoshop. Removing lines, artifacts, defining certain shapes, fixing up colors, and more. Back into image to image, we're going to do another generation but with a much lower setting, because we don't want the AI to change the image too much at this point, but what we want is for the AI to blend all those edits together so they look seamless. And look at the result here. This is so much better. In fact, the top is...
Yeah, the best way to describe this channel is this is the I Studied the Blade channel.
Basically done. It's easily of high enough quality that many people would be happy with. I'm going to make some additional edits a little later on, but we are ready to move on to other elements of the image.
Many people would be happy with this. Again, it's very... The head is just so creepy.
Fixing up the skin tone on the legs, fixing up the hands and so they look far better and more realistic. This again is literally digital illustration that I'm applying to the image. We're going to fix up...
Oh wait, he collaborates with Sargon of Akkad? I didn't know that.
The color in certain parts as well, and then even make more significant changes to the color because I actually want red cuffs instead of pure gold. So this is a matter of adding a color layer and adjusting the layer settings to change the color from underneath but using the same texture and shading. Back into image to image, and then I'm going to regenerate the hand and cuffs, but I want the prompt to guide it in the direction where I want, and there is a lot of elements in the prompt that are completely unnecessary for hands. I first need to add detailed hands to the prompt for it to give it a focal point that I'm generating hands here, and then I can remove a lot of the other unneeded elements, and now the hands are looking much.
I am somewhat concerned by the fact that he started out this video by blocking out his wife's name, and in the subsequent showing of that prompt, it has not been blocked out. My guy.
Much better. But the cuffs don't look metallic enough or armored enough, so I'm going to...
Why is her head so much bigger than her body? Because the head was generated based on images of his wife and then placed through, a dozen more iterations of AI generation, and the head just never became the right proportion.
Regenerate those with the mecha Laura added back in, which is going to make it look more metallic.
We're doing all right,
Pegma.
Pegma.
We're almost done the larger elements, bringing the image into a higher resolution, and the next crucial stage is to generate a higher resolution and more detailed face. But of course, we're going to be giving this image the face of my wife, and so I'm going to load in the model that I personally trained, and we're going to use that in image to image to generate my wife's face. And I'm going to adjust the prompt to give her the expression that
Okay, that wasn't his wife's face yet.
I want her smiling. My wife has one of the most beautiful smiles in the world. And so we generate it several times with different settings until we have a face that is actually looking really, really nice. And the image could be considered mostly complete at this point, but I'm a perfectionist and I'm an artist. I want this image to be as good as possible. This is the difference between someone with an artistic eye, an eye for proportion and detail, versus someone who doesn't. There are many people who would look at this image and not be able to see any additional errors or flaws. And that
Okay, I'm just happy that finally, 30 minutes in, the character on screen doesn't look like an actual child.
can be well enough. I think someone would have every right to be proud of the final result and quality of this image. It is beautiful, but there is a difference.
But again, her proportions in her face don't fit with the proportions of like the model that's happening here.
Between making good AI art and making some of the best. I want the top to look a bit more like armor, and so I'm going to start regenerating the top with a greater weight on armor, with the mecha Laura added back in. And there are some interesting results with good potential. I'm going to combine some of the best features of both. The chest and center of this image is really, really good, but the wrinkles on the side look awful, and so I'm going to bring in the side parts of the body from another image. I'm going to clean up and reposition some of the line work, bring back the gold highlights, and bring back a much better looking belt that was on one of the previous versions. There are some other errors on the image that need to be fixed, like the position of the cape. It looks like there's just a separate bit of detached cloth. The cape is coming down far too low here compared to how it flares out on the side, and so we're going to remove those incorrect elements on the cape. The earring is standing out too much and doesn't suit the image, so we're going to remove that. And the expression of my wife just doesn't look right.
My wife.
So I'm going to load in another face model, which generates my wife's face in a more artistic style, which won't suit the image, but it always does better proportions. And so I'm going to generate a version with that model of my wife's face, use that as a base guide, and then use the more realistic face model to give us the final expression. And it looks more natural.
Jesus Christ, dude. Can we just, like, go back?
Wife's face.
Okay. I just, we need to, like, fully take in this face. Alright? Fully take in this face.
Use that as a base guide, and then use the more realistic face model to give us
That, yeah, we came back to more childlike again. Oh, God.
the final expression, and it looks more natural with a better smile. Because I was just generating a section of her head, her hair now looks of a different style compared to the hair that is flying off to the left. And so I'm going to select the hair and regenerate it so it's consistent. We are now very, very close, but there are still some finer details that just need to be fixed, like the sections of cloth here on the skirt, some odd indents and lines on the top, and there's too sharp a transition on the shading on the bust, and so we're going to smooth those out. This is looking pretty darn good, but there is a problem with
Is it, though? Is it?
the image, and once again, I wonder if you can notice it. Only someone who is familiar with anatomical proportions would be able to notice this.
He and his wife appeared together in a Doctor Who article, so her name is already out there. Okay, good.
Her shoulders are far too wide to the rest of her frame. It makes her look way too bulky, and so we are going to fix these proportions with the Photoshop Liquify tool. Simple, subtle changes, but it actually has a very significant effect on the overall appearance and composition. The shoulders now look consistent with the rest of her frame, and overall she looks more feminine and delicate, which I personally like.
But her head is colossal compared to the rest of her body. You haven't done anything to address that.
And is more accurate to my wife as well. With all these changes done, we are now ready to generate the final high-resolution version. We're going to use the Ultimate SD Upscaler, which is an extension that you can download in Stable Diffusion. Using the 4x Ultra Upscale Checkpoint, another thing that you can download, we're going to increase the resolution by 3 times, which is going to add lots of finer details. And here we have the final image. And when I look at it, I'm honestly put in a state of awe as to how beautiful this image is.
Chat, I'm getting major, like, child beauty pageant vibes off of this image. I hate it. And he's about to say it's the best looking thing ever. Oh my god.
The lighting, the movement, the flow of the hair, cape and cloth, the design
My
of
wife.
the outfit, the finer details,
My
the
wife.
metallic sheen and how the S just pops out.
The foot is still fucked up. The foot is still fucked up in the final product. How?
More like, no, look at this horrible tragedy of art.
Oh my god. How? I think this looks like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. The foot's just dangling off.
Pops out at you, and of course, it has the beautiful face of my wife. And now let's just compare the before and after.
Beat by Rob
This
Liefeld.
was the beginning image generated from the first prompt. We were able to take that prompt, which already took a lot of human input to refine and get right, generate an image, and using all the artistic ability that I've developed through my life, we were able to turn that image into this. The combination of artistic ability, technical knowledge in the program, working with multiple models, applying LoRa's to get the effects that we want, multiple different tools within the program, from high-res fix to image to detailed multiple steps of in-painting, personal custom-made models that I train myself, and a better extension for a much more refined, upscaled, high-resolution result. And that is just having a technical knowledge of Stable Diffusion, knowing how to use multiple tools, let alone the illustration ability I was able to apply in Photoshop to edit, clean up, fix, and create the image that I wanted. And here we can see the process which we just undertook. There are some image stages that are not appearing because I didn't save them at that stage. But you can still see the overall process, which took me 2.5 hours from start.
Oh god. I just I used an entire lifetime of skill and ability to make it look so much worse.
Start to finish. A lot more time, work, effort, and skill needed than just a click. I can't see how anyone who've watched this entire process could then assume
I slaved for you every day over a hot API, sweating and worrying to make you this AI art. You're gonna look at it, you're gonna love it. It's my wife.
that the AI is just doing all the work,
My wife's big head.
and that there is no human artistic vision or input or talent needed. People who say such things honestly do not know what they are talking about.
Did you guys see that? It's shifting through the different faces. Oh my god. Oh my god. I know we're not doing anything productive politically right now. I'm just very much enjoying this.
People who say such things honestly do not know what they are talking about. They are statements from profound ignorance when it comes to this technology. And
Oh god, the shifting face just gets me every goddamn time.
deeply insulting to me as an artist who has just made something of deep artistic expression and love for my wife.
Yeah, okay, bud. I'm okay insulting you deeply in that way. I think you maybe needed to be insulted more deeply. That's again like 80% of the reason why people go to art school, to have their work insulted repeatedly until they stop being like you.
And not just images of my wife, of characters that I love, I can also create incredible high
A little more, P. Danny. Lol, suck your own dick a little bit more, dude. I don't think you're doing it enough. Don't tempt him, little Morphine Annie. He knows the hard magic.
Detailed, truly stunning pieces of art of my own characters and stories. These AI art generators do not need to be feared. When used in combination with your artistic ability, artists can get the very best results out of AI art generators. They can be the most incredible tools for artists. And if artists are worried about getting replaced, they need to understand that they have the ability to make the very best AI art. And they could never be replaced when they're still making the very best quality at a competitive rate, speed, and quantity to what many industries are looking for and want. And that's just the commercial industry side of this discussion. The claim that AI art is in no way art at all is a statement of profound ignorance and elitism. And people can believe that. I just know it's not true.
Yeah. Look, I might use the distilled essence of I might use the distilled essence of Salvador Dali to just like summon his ghost to paint for me. But that doesn't mean I'm any less of an artist. The ritual takes a great deal of artistry, you know.
Because I know I continually experience deep artistic satisfaction from the things I am able to create with these incredible tools. Because look at this final image. How could anyone say that it is made by AI, when it is literally impossible for the AI to have made it? You saw
Bud, you are so delusional.
how much human input was involved to create this image, this piece of art. I hope everyone who's watched this video now knows that no, this is a piece of art made by me, made by a human, using tools in combination with other artistic tools like Photoshop and my own artistic ability. It is still human-made art, just assisted with AI technology.
I do.
No! Look. All I'm saying, okay? All I'm saying. All I'm saying is that I went onto this AI generating website and I typed in butts in shorts, and this was the #1 result that I got. I am now an artiste.